joining us for another episode of the Little Radio Show, where we're bringing you small talk about big topics. In this week's conversation, we have a look at Star Wars. Even though it's been out for a few weeks, we figured it was okay to include some spoilers, and we have our guest bloggers, Michelle Rodriguez and Marisa Rodriguez, joining us for that conversation. We also have a conversation about our first jobs, what they were, and how we got them, and a talk about what jobs are available for teens today. Just a reminder, you can join us every week on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on hmsnetradio.org. You can find our show archives at thelittlradioshow.com, and we invite you to leave us a rating or a review on iTunes and Stitcher channels. You can find the links to both channels on our website. Hi everybody, this is Sandra Fernandez, and welcome to this week's In Case You Missed It. We have some lovely people with us today, but let me introduce co-host.
Co-host.
First.
So, my name is Anjelica Cazares. As you all know, I am Crafty Thrifter, and of course, the co-founder of Juan Alanis.
And I'm the other half of that equation, and this is Juan Alanis, and we're, again, juanofwords.com is where you can find us.
So today, in case you missed it, because I figure it's been enough weeks that many of you have already seen it, I want to talk about Star Wars. Okay,
so we have to do a disclaimer really quick. So Sandra has watched it, and within all of us, there's 5 of us here, haven't actually watched it. So there might be some spoilers, and if you don't want to hear what the finale is or perhaps some of the intels of it, just turn it off or skip through.
Well, let's introduce our guests. And we have 2 wonderful Texas Latina bloggers who, we are very inspired by, and we really admire for the work that they do and really elevating the Latino voice. And I'm talking about Marisa with Modern Tejana, and also talking about Michelle, who's joining us from San Antonio.
Family Loves SA.
Right? Family Loves San Antonio, right?
Yes. Hello, we're happy to be here.
So if you ladies can just quickly introduce yourselves. I know.
Okay, I'm Marisa Rodriguez, and like they said, I'm from San Antonio, and I run Modern Tejana, which is a Tex-Mex lifestyle blog.
And I'm Michelle Rodriguez, no relation.
No relation.
But very common. But maybe somewhere down the line, we're pretty much Michelle Rodriguez, and my blog is Family Love in My City, and it's kind of just a hyper-local San Antonio family blog.
Well, we're very excited to have you guys in the studio.
Yeah, I know. We are pretty excited. We are very, very, very excited. I think that's the way we get every time we get somebody in here.
No, it's not just the coffee. So, Star Wars. Of course, I went to go see it the first weekend that it was out. I'm not going to say that I'm a big Star Wars fan, because I'm not. But I'm going to take a poll with the 5 people in here. Who has never seen a Star Wars movie ever, of any kind?
I think I watched like half of one, or I remember. And then sometimes I think I'm mixing it up with, what is that one? Star Galactica, or what is it called?
Oh my God!
Star Trek.
You're awful!
I am, but I think I watched one, and that's because somebody forced me to watch it, as I watched like some of it. But
okay, who here has actually seen the first Star Wars movie?
That's the one I watched.
That's the one with the kid, right? It's the one with the kid?
No.
Are you talking about episode 4?
I'm talking about episode 4.
Yeah, I've seen 4, 5, and 6, and then 1, 2, and 3.
All right, well that's good. We've got a place to start with. So
we are no help today, Sandra. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So, obviously, everyone has been anxiously awaiting episodes 7, 8, and 9, because it's supposed to be, Star Wars are set as a trilogy. They set up the story that way. It's supposed to be the continuation from episode 6, which is the original, the original number 3. So the cool thing about this movie is that it's much closer to the original, to the theme, to the universe that's set up in George Lucas's original vision, which is wonderful. You have, so stop me if you've heard this. So there's this very young person who is working hard and scavenging a living in a desolate planet. Doesn't know, with its orphan, no parents, who is given ends up going on this special quest because this young person meets an android who has a message from the person who is Princess Leia about how to save the universe from the Empire. Hello, is that not the plot to the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, but in Star Wars, in this new one, the young person is a girl.
Okay. I did hear that there was that twist that it changed up just a little bit.
It's not that big a twist.
Okay,
but I'm serious. It's not
okay.
So they made her a girl, but it's the exact same. It's almost the exact same movie. In episode 4. It's Luke Skywalker. He's living in this desolate, really, really poor planet. No parents. He lives with an uncle. In episode 7, she lives by herself. She's an orphan. Trying hard to scavenge together and survive. That's what she is doing in episode 7. And
which is this latest one.
Yes.
Okay.
So what did you think of the movie itself?
The movie itself is it's very well done. It's much better than 1, 2, and 3. Even though there were a lot more special effects in 1, 2, and 3, they got more back to the basics. There was a plot line. You actually felt invested in some of the characters.
Because what I've heard from a lot of people is like they didn't like it as much. They were like, I didn't really like it because it didn't really surprise me. It didn't really.
It didn't surprise me. Yeah. It didn't do anything different. That's why I'm saying that Star Wars actually didn't feel like a sequel, more like a remake of the original. And so the really cool thing was that the central characters from 4, 5, and 6 were actually in there. Princess Leia is a general. I
like it when they do that, when they bring the original cast back.
Okay, so you want a big spoiler?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Big spoiler. Okay. So the quote-unquote Darth Vader of the new movie. So in the in 4, 5, and 6, what happens is Darth Vader is related to Princess Leia. Ends up being her dad, right? Yes. In episode 7, the quote-unquote Darth Vader is related to Princess Leia. It's her son.
And so it's Darth Vader's grandson.
Darth Vader's grandson. And so it's
so confused.
No, but what I'm saying is they really, really, it's almost exactly the original script, the original idea. And while it was very enjoyable, I wasn't surprised. There was nothing new under the sun there.
But maybe they needed to get back to the original quest.
Oh, no.
Because the first episode 1, I think we can all agree.
Oh,
we can never go back there again.
Episode 3 is the one I hated the most. And you know
really?
why? It's because poor Natalie Portman, they could not have written a worse character for her than she was someone who used to be a queen and they turned her into a doormat. I really, really hated what they did with her character, especially since Princess Leia is one of the all-time female action heroes of film, and so it was.
and that's episode 3.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I need to go watch that one.
Yeah.
I know there's an order that you need to watch it, and people have mentioned it before. I have no idea, but I think I'm supposed to do 4, and then 10, and then 5, and I don't know what's going on.
If it were up to me, I would tell you don't even bother with 1, 2, and 3. Just go to 4, 5, and 6, which is the original 3 that George Lucas did, and then go to the next one that is the one in movie theaters right now.
Okay.
We're bad at movies. Like I'm like my mom went to the movies to see what is it, The Hunger Games, and she was like, I don't know, la muchacha que pelea mucho.
Now, my nephew, who is 9 and has never seen a Star Wars movie, loved it. Oh my God, he loved it. And for the new generation that aren't invested in Star Wars, who don't already have all this prior knowledge of the series, the movie is a phenomenal success.
Well, and everything is marketed to them. So I have 9-year-old twins, a boy and a girl. A little Luke and Leia. But so they really wanted to see the movie. Everything it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
They wanted Star Wars this and Star Wars that in the store. And I said, you know what? You have never even seen Star Wars. So if you want me to take you to see number 7, I did. I told him you have to see 4, 5, 6. And we borrowed 1, 2, 3. We had to borrow 4, 5, and 6 because it's really hard to get those. And then we had 1, 2, and 3 from a gift that we don't even know that we had. So we watched them over the Christmas break, and I made them watch 4, 5, 6.
How did they like them?
They liked them. It was 4, 5, and 6 are really cute for them to see.
Yes.
But it did phenomenally well at the box office.
It broke every box office record there has ever been, and probably will be for a while.
Which, in and of itself, no matter how bad the movie is, that's a big score.
Well, it's not. No, let me rephrase. It's not a bad movie. I'm not going to tell anybody that it's a bad movie. It is absolutely worth watching. I am going to say that I was disappointed in it because I didn't feel surprised. There was nothing in there wowed me. If you're just tuning in, this is the Little Radio Show on hmsnetradio.org. What was your first job? This is a question that I figured was a good topic for this week because I was having a conversation with my niece and my nephew about jobs that they're going to start to look for the summer. Now, here's the thing. It used to be that there were a lot of options for teenagers who needed a part-time job. There was fast food, and, once upon a time they could deliver newspapers and dog walking and lawn care and babysitting and other stuff like that. I don't know about smaller communities, but in places like Houston where life has become a little bit less safe, a lot less secure, and jobs are harder to find for untrained or unskilled adults. A lot of these jobs are done by adults now. You have, if you go to your local, if you go to a fast food store, most of the people behind the counter are adults. If you go, there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, adults are the ones who deliver newspapers, not teenagers. If you go to a movie theater, you might see a few teens and young adults, but the majority are going to be young adults to adults. Mm-hmm. So jobs for teenagers are hard to find, and it made me think of, what was your first job? So my first job where I got paid was McDonald's.
Really?
Yes. My first job where I got paid, I was 17. Okay. My first job ever was I worked as a cashier in my dad's meat market.
And how old were you
I did not get paid. I was 14.
Oh, wow.
I worked 14 and 15, and then he closed it down.
Well, that's a pretty traditional job, though.
Yes, I started out in drive-thru.
A drive-thru?
I started out in drive-thru as a cashier and eventually worked my way. They ended up putting me in, in the grill. I used to make all the food in the back.
Well, from my understanding is the drive-thru is where you wanted to be because that's where you got paid most, and that's the one that was more efficient and faster.
I don't know. That's where they started me out.
See, I would have loved that because I never got to work. I always wanted to work in fast food, in a restaurant, and I never got the chance to work anywhere. That was a fast food restaurant.
Opportunity, Juan.
But anyway, McDonald's was my first paying job. How about you, Juan?
So my first paying job was I think it was like, I was the type that I always wanted to work since I was very little, way before I was old enough to work. So I was always trying to hustle and figure out how I could make money, how we could.
That doesn't count because I have those stories too.
So my first unofficial job was that I was selling perfumes. I went to this little warehouse somewhere that I found in the green sheet, and it's a local newspaper, and I went and I found this ad, and they were we're hiring salespeople. Doesn't matter who you are, just come. So I show up, and they put us in a car, and they drive us somewhere. I don't even know where. I was I must have been I don't know how old I was, probably 11, 12 or something.
Good Lord.
And you got in a car?
Yeah, and I got in a car with these people. It was several other people. We went somewhere. They pulled us out, and we walked door to door, trying to sell perfumes.
Wow.
Needless to say, nobody bought the perfumes except for my brother-in-law, who was dating my sister at the time and who was trying to make a good impression. And so he bought 2 perfumes for me. I suckered him into the second one. But my first, real job was I started selling newspapers like right around that age too. So every Saturday they would come and they would pick us up at the apartments where we used to live, and it was a van, and they would pick up like my brother and myself, my older brother and me, and we would go, and then they would drop us off like at a grocery store somewhere, and we'd sit outside of the grocery store all day on Saturday and Sunday, and we just, at that point it was the Houston Post. It's not around anymore, but we would sit around the Houston Post, and I think it was like Saturday was like 50 cents, and Sunday was like $1.25 or something, and so whatever we made, like we got to keep a portion of it. So it was literally like we didn't really make a whole lot, but it was more than not making anything. So that was really my like first official job.
Oh wow!
Selling newspaper
outside of the store.
Very cool.
So now I'm like, so for a while, and they don't do that anymore. You're right. Like the kids don't do that anymore.
No.
And it was a little dangerous because there were people who would come up, and they would, like, you had to kind of guard your money because you never, like, if you had your money or if you had your stash of newspapers, because they would drive us out, and my mom would make my dad drive out to wherever we were, and she would drop us off like little tacos that she had made for us. So that was our lunch.
That's adorable.
So she would come and be like, "Here's your lunch, mijo," and then she'd be like, "We'll see you at the house." And she'd stay in the parking lot like for a while, watching me, and then she would like leave, and then they would bring us back in the evenings, and so we made probably like $20 each day, which was really good back then at that age.
For your age, yeah.
Yeah, so, that was really my first official job.
How do we all have the same story? Like, unofficial and official job? Like, what put us on payroll?
I've got the unofficial stuff. Like, the job for my dad was the first thing, like, job that I had.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I used to make doll furniture.
Furniture.
Yes, and you know how they've got those sticks and stuff at the hobby store, and some of them are things that will get together and cut off, and some of them are just sticks, or they call them the lollipop sticks or whatever.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So I used to cut that up and put it together, and I made living rooms and rocking chairs and other stuff like that, and I would varnish them, or I would color them, or I would paint them and whatever, and I sold them to the people in my school.
Really?
Oh, wow.
For
That's
Barbie
really
dolls, Barbie dolls and stuff like that, and so I made doll furniture. I did stuff like, because we lived in a small town, and every once in a while, one of those traveling shows would come by, and they would have it would be like a market, and they would set up and they'd sell silver, or they'd sell other stuff like that, and I'd get all of my allowance, and I'd go and buy up as much as possible, and a month after they left, I'd start selling it to people who had missed it.
Oh, that's smart.
That is smart.
So I
were always very enterprising.
I always did the hustle thing, but I don't consider those to be jobs.
Yeah.
Those are fun. But I had a first job.
Oh, okay. So I did a lot of little hustle jobs too, because that's fun. So at the age of like 11, 12, 13 or something like that, I always followed my sister. She always did like odd side jobs in like odd places.
Yeah.
And one of the things she did, we used to go to the flea market, which is La Pulga, and some of the stands, they would sell cassettes.
Yes.
She did that, and I would do that with her.
Oh.
And then that went on for a while, a couple of months, and then she got over it really fast. And then she ended up at one of the, at the jaripeos.
Palenque.
Uh-huh.
We would go and we would sell refrescos.
Oh, okay.
And I got bumped up to sell the beer because I was fast enough and my hands were quick enough to get into that ice cold water. We made some cash. Like, we got paid good. So here I was, 14, 15 years old, making $250 a day.
Oh, wow.
And a couple of hours. And I was like, and plus tips. That's what they paid us. And plus tips, like, I was banking.
That's a lot of money.
It was. Oh, but you walked out there, your hands hurt from, like, digging your hand into those ice things.
So
but
you were really hustling. I was over there happy with $20.
My official first job that I was on a payroll somewhere.
Yes.
Was
with taxes and everything.
Yeah, was at Foley's.
Really?
Yeah, I was the
For those of you who don't remember, Foley's in Houston is what Macy's used to be.
Yeah, well, what
they
is
were bought
now.
out by Macy's, yeah.
Correct. I did the fitting room.
Oh.
I started when Christmas season. They always look for people during Christmas season, and I started there around that time. see that. Oh, and besides that, I was also in charge of like the leather jackets. So they would have them on cords. Mm-hmm. They would have them on cords, and when people would ask, "Can I see this jacket?" I have to go over there with like my key and watch them try it on and so on, and make sure they didn't like run out the door with it. And so that was my first job.
So see, my problem was always that I wasn't old enough to get a real job. Like I had to wait till I was 16, and it seemed like it'd never come. And so there was one summer that I like rode back and forth. There was a taco place that was like probably like 5 miles away from my house. So I rode my bike like several times, and I would call over there and be like, "Can you are you hiring? Are you hiring?" Because I had heard that they hired people that weren't 16, and so I kept calling and trying to go over there to get hired. And, then they finally one day they hired me. They're like, "Okay, well, fine. We'll give you a trial run." And so I was so happy. And they're like, "Okay, come." And they're like, "Do you wash dishes?" I was like, "Yes." And so they put me to wash dishes. And lo and behold, like an hour into working there, the guy got, the guy wasn't even there. He called something like, I guess the manager, whoever was in charge. And he was like, "Yeah." And then the girl comes over and she's like, "Yeah." He said, it's not going to work out. So go ahead and leave. And so there I was like all upset, like riding my sad little bicycle home. Because I was like, what happened? I was like, I wasn't even there for like an hour. I was enjoying it and nothing. It didn't work out. Oh. And then my real job where I was on payroll was at Walmart.
Was at Walmart. And I spent probably about a year there or maybe more. And that was an interesting place to work. I thought I did customer service very well because I did since I was younger, selling cassette tapes, selling beer, making sure people and I would run around trying to get the sizes for these people. And so I took my hand at waitressing, which was, I was still in high school. I was a hostess first, and I did like excellent. I think I did very well. But I tried my hand at waitressing, and I did okay, but I remember the first few days, the birthday of a guy, I dropped his drink on him and then dropped water on the person next to him. So I will always remember that. It was his birthday and I dropped his drink, his alcoholic beverage on him. So, yeah, that was fun.
You were saying you did customer service well?
I did, but it wasn't on purpose. Obviously, I wasn't very good at waitressing my very first, but yeah, that's that within the span of a year, that's what I did. So I did Foley's and then I did waitressing. I always wanted for some reason.
Waitressing is the one job I never actually had myself.
Oh, and so now we were talking about the jobs that people do. So I'm looking up popular jobs or summer jobs for teens, and so it's mother's helper, which I don't know what that is. I guess it's mother's helper.
It's a babysitter. Yeah, it's like a babysitter that stays there with the mom.
And then it says a babysitter, a pet sitter, a dog walker, a plant sitter, a house sitter.
Sitter. I want that job.
So those are
it's somebody to water your plants while you're away.
Yeah.
I still want that job.
Well, my niece and nephew, both of them, their first job was in the same place. And you know how it is where if you know someone, they can get you in. My niece was captain of the swim team. And so she got a job as a lifeguard at a local, the parks department has those public pools. So she got a job as a lifeguard, and that's where she worked every summer. Well, my nephew ended up working in the same place. But watching him try and find a job for the summer was interesting because a lot of places he wasn't old enough, or he, it was too far, or they wouldn't hire him before he had his birthday, even though he was going to be that age when the job started. And there's all sorts of stuff. And the competition for these jobs, for the summer especially, is amazing. So if you're a teenager and you want to get your first job, it really is. You really do have to hustle and go out and find.
As I hear you say this, Sandra, I'm recollecting what made me find those jobs and what attracted me to the jobs that I had, and thinking on it, I remember my friend used to work at Foley's, and she was getting paid a lot more because she was older than I was, and she was actually doing cashier. So I got paid $2-3 less than she did. But I was getting paid back then. Yeah, I was getting paid a good $11 an hour, which was fabulous. But the turning on to me was that I got discounts.
Yes.
And that was a place that I could rarely afford. And so getting the discounts already, so you can imagine my money just went all back to Foley's because I was just getting the stuff there anyway.
It was a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it was. It was that. But on top of that, why did I get the hostessing and waitressing job? It's because I would get extra money. And so that's the way I always based like my, not so much my job skills, but what I could get more. It's because I already was taking the time to ride the bus for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I was already taking time out of actually doing schoolwork to go waitress. It's like I need incentives. I need to be able to get more and maximize what I'm doing. And that's always the way I look for a job. So it's not that I didn't want to work, say, at McDonald's. It's that I was looking for something that was going to give me more in return.
But I think working
and that there's nothing wrong with it. I just seeked it differently.
No, but I understand completely. Yeah. By the time I took my second job, I was in college. I needed the money.
Yeah, definitely.
The parameters should change.
But, I mean, think about it. McDonald's, and you were getting tips. It's like, yeah, so you would keep, yes. I thought so. I would think so. That mean I'd be like, yes, if I'm dealing with your child, you better tip me.
But I think getting a job as a teenager is kind of a rite of passage because it gives you like a sense of responsibility, a sense of independence. And for me, like, I think it's important for teenagers to get a job.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
I actually think that it's important for you to work while you're in college as well.
Yeah.
Really?
And yes, absolutely. Because the world doesn't work to where you can only study. Okay? It doesn't work that way. You don't get to only go to work and not have to worry about after work.
We're talking in retrospect of, say, here, the States.
Yes.
Here, the United States of America. That's very true. But elsewhere, say, like in Europe, you do get paid to go to school.
Yeah. Don't talk Europe. Europe's not. Talk Asia. Asia, who are doing better than we are in a lot of that one. I'll talk to you. Europe, not okay. But I understand. But one of the reasons, have you ever heard of what is it, the Lemonade Day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Lemonade Day is one of my best projects. I think it's national now. Started in Houston because, in fact, we are not teaching kids to have that go-to entrepreneurial thing like we had when we were kids. You were out there hustling.
Well, I mean, the thing is that I was hustling, and I never anticipated that what I learned about hustling back then was going to play such an important role in my life later on in life.
Correct.
And it really did. And the other thing is that we have to teach our kids the importance of being able to manage a budget, the importance, the responsibility that it is to have a job, because you're gonna have, you're gonna have to work for the rest of your life.
The responsibility of the possible failing.
Yeah, about how to run a business. Lemonade Day is this really great program where they actually walk kids through, and on this day, kids establish a lemonade stand, but they have to establish a budget. They have to figure out how much they're going to charge, how they're going to promote. Did they actually make money at the end of the day? There's all sorts of really great skills that they learn through this activity that honestly are not taught in school. And if we're not teaching them in the family, how do they learn?
And the other great thing, the point that you make, is learning to fail. Because you do have to learn to fail. You have to learn to fail, and you have to learn to get back up from that. Because, if you don't learn that, then, the first setback that you have, it can be detrimental. And you have to learn that, it's okay to make mistakes. You're going to fall. You're going to fail, but you have to be willing to get back up and try again.
Let's see. I think definitely. I think even mistakes that you don't make, even mistakes that, say, the market, like, plummets or something happens that you're not going to do well, that you are more inclined to be accepting of what's taken place and be able to rise from that. So I do see that. I do see the benefit in that.
And I honestly think we'll come back to the failure topic on another show. But for today, what I'd like to do is invite our listeners to let us know, what was your first job? Come by thelittleradioshow.com and leave it in our comments, or let us know via Twitter or on our Facebook page. What was your first job, or what was your kids' first jobs? And so we can all share in the joy that was. Mine was flipping burgers, as I said. And honestly, it was a great first job. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Little Radio Show. We invite you to check out our iTunes channel and our Stitcher channel, and to leave us a rating or a review. You can find both links at thelittleradioshow.com.